Getting Japanese artists to draw your original characters or fan art may be easier than you think. With an additional element of gacha, the site skeb might be your answer. In today's heist, we're gonna find out why both VTubers and VTuber fans frequently use it, how you can come back home with a fresh collection of custom content, and what are some hidden rules of the site that no one really talks about. Every day should be like Christmas Day, where you get to open surprise gifts that you were totally not expecting because you totally didn't buy it for yourself. In simplest terms, skeb is a site where you can commission Japanese creators on a bunch of things like artworks, music, text, and even advice, aka critiques, on your own creations. There's a recommended price that is set by the artist, and generally the amount is relatively lower than if you contact the artist directly. So what's the catch? There is absolutely no communication with the artists themselves. No DMs on Twitter or social media platforms. You will be banned on the website if you ignore this one rule. You are simply given a text box to enter your request and prompt to the artist, and that's it. The real beauty of skeb is that you can write your request in English and the site will automatically use DeepL to translate it to Japanese. No need to worry about having to learn proper Japanese polite speech and all the etiquette surrounding writing letters to the artist sensei. The artist then has full rights to create whatever they want in the medium you choose, with no back and forth communication. You are also not allowed to dispute the delivered product in any way, and the art is generally for personal use with all rights kept by the artist, meaning that they can use the artwork in a future art book of theirs or in a video to promote their services. As a requester, you do have the option to keep your commission private, meaning the delivery is blurred on the website but not completely hidden. So how do you even get started? Your account will be linked to your Twitter account. On the main page, you can see a bunch of recent deliveries for all the available categories, as well as who on your Twitter following list has an artist account for skeb. I learned this very late in using the website. When you go to the skeb profile of any creator and click follow, you actually end up following them on Twitter too. One day, I just realized that there were a bunch of people on my feed that I don't remember following, and then it clicked in my brain. So, heads up if you need to keep your follower ratio tidy, and be careful of following too many artists through skeb. In a creator's profile, if they're seeking requests, that means that you are able to send a request in. If they're closed, then you have the option to be notified via email the moment they reopen. You'll see a bunch of stats, which is actually super helpful, especially if you're looking for something on a deadline. Okay, this line gets me confused at first, as it's not super clear on what it's referring to. Max body size. This means the character count of the text box for the request and not the dimensions of the size of the finished product. The next section of detail talks about the duration of the process. Response expiration means how many days the creator has once you submit a request to either accept or reject it. Past that date is an auto reject. You won't get notifications for either type of rejections. It'll be silently added to the canceled section of your requests. I like that because whenever you do get an email notification, it's something positive like, yay, the artist accepted my request. Response average days and complete average days don't always show, but these give you a better estimate on when to expect a confirmation that the creator has accepted or declined a request, as well as how long the average the creator takes to complete the delivery once accepted. Reminder that the average can be skewed. If the artist did 5 jobs and completed 4 of them in 10 days, but the last one only took 1 day, then you'll be seeing 8 days on average, when realistically you should be expecting 10 days. Complete expiration is how many days the creator has once they accept your job to finish it. In the accepted request, you'll see the exact time up to the second that the creator has to deliver. But what happens if the time runs out and you've not seen a single thing from them? I've experienced it very rarely, but skeb does offer a grace period of a few hours for the creator to upload and deliver. But after that, you'll be getting a sad skeb email saying the creator gave up. Yes, that's literally what it says on the email. Some creators may offer an appeal to you if they just needed more time, and then responding to that will treat it as a brand new request. But I wouldn't really bet on receiving an appeal this way, unfortunately. The final info in this section ties into whether or not the creator is reliable. Total means how many requests they've completed on time, and complete rate is how many requests they've accepted and delivered on time. Ideally, you're looking for creators with 100% completion rate to guarantee guarantee delivery. But anywhere in the 90% range is not terrible because personal things can come up and the creator might miss the deadline. Skeb guarantees your money back when a request gets canceled or is overdue, so it's not the end of the world. When you're ready to submit a request, there's a few things you need to prepare for the form. The amount defaults to the recommended amount set by the creator, and you do have the option to increase or lower the pricing. Two things though. One, if you select something lower than the recommended, be prepared for the creator to either reject or lower your expectations on the delivery compared to the other ones you see on the creator's page. And two, if you select something higher than the recommended amount, the artist is still not obligated to create something more complex than the ones you see on the page. It is a safe idea to keep the recommended amount and then in the text box let the creator know that if the request is too complex, it is okay for them to appeal with a higher amount. Make them give you the amount that's needed. The text box is the only place and chance for you to communicate with the artist, so make sure you include every piece of detail you can think of before you hit submit. On rare occasions, the artist can give instructions on what to include as a part of the text, and it'll appear above the text box. Most of the time, you're on your own, so here's a simple template that you can use for an artist. Start with something nice about why you like the creator. I really like how all of your chibis have pretty pastel colors. In the next few paragraphs, describe what you want them to draw. I would like you to draw my VTuber character, Felynne. She's a smug cat rogue who loves to steal diamonds and play gacha. If you have a particular pose and expression in mind, try to explain it in text, but you can also include it in a Google Drive folder alongside your character's reference. Quick reminder to make sure your view permissions for your folder are set to public. If you don't have specifics on posing, just say something like, I'll leave the pose and expression up to you. Be sure to include what the art will be used for. Remember, the art is for personal use by default, unless otherwise allowed for commercial use by the artist. I'd like to use it for YouTube thumbnails, or I will use it for my SNS accounts are some example phrases here. If you have specific dimensions you want the art to have, or to have none of the head cut off so that your animator can use the art for a music cover, point these things out. Also include something like, please separate the body from the background and ask for the PSD file if you want the art to have a transparent background. Once you have all that written out, you can reuse the body of text in future requests. The next section has a bunch of on-off toggles for things like if you want to stay anonymous, aka no one can see who requested the skeb, or cross-post if you're sending out multiple requests for a single project in mind. When one of the requests gets accepted, it'll automatically cancel the others in the batch. You may notice some written text like, "Thank you, Felynne," and signed by the artist on the artwork, and that is the addressee section. I usually select files with and without because when posting the artwork on my Twitter, I sometimes like to leave the message as a credit to the artist. After selecting a payment method and double confirming your request, it will be sent to the creator. All you gotta do now is wait for a yes or no. Your payment will be held by Skeb the moment you request and can take up to like 100 days to return it to you after cancellation, but it usually only takes a few days for my card. While most of the site is pretty straightforward to use, there are some little things you may not notice at first glance. The recommended amount that you see on a creator's page actually gets bumped up for your account in the following scenarios. 1. If you cancel the request before the creator takes any action, or 2. If the creator cancels your request. If the creator cancels your request with an appeal, you might see a different amount depending on what the creator sets for that specific appeal, but the amount you see on the creator page won't increase. Skeb says that this increase is only for a period of time, which is probably a way just to prevent spam requesting. I've seen it increase around 500 yen the last time this has happened, but I'm not sure when it actually returns back to the original price because many creators increase their price over time. Sometimes when a creator rejects you or leaves your request to run out of time, they may be in the middle of increasing their prices. One time I saw an artist go for 50k yen, but left my request on red for weeks. I noticed that they actually increased it all the way to 230k yen and didn't even bother to reject my proposal. Tisk tisk. You can still be scammed by so-called artists. I've heard cases of when the artist delivers something way below the quality of previous deliveries, and at that point, there is no way to dispute it because that's how Skeb works. You'll also have to be careful of AI images that slip through the cracks. Skeb does have a built-in AI detector, but I think you just need to double-check things yourself sometimes. The best thing about Skeb is the element of gacha surprise. You never really know what you'll get, even though you put something down in for the prompt. Every time you get the "Your Skeb has been delivered" email will make you jump for joy. Just at a time expecting some of them will be cancelled. I didn't do that. Also, if you want to be an artist on Skeb, you will need a Japanese bank account in order to start selling. And if you're not really into the surprise and want to actually communicate with Japanese artists during the commission process, there's a completely different website that I'll showcase in the future that does just that.